Here on Flying Pig United with a bit of Wednesday analysis for you. The live weekly video podcast, which hasn't been on for a couple of weeks and is usually on Mondays. I'm doing one today. So, because obviously we had that calamity last night, and there's been this news surfacing today, footage of Paul Pogba having it out with Jose Mourinho on the training ground, bit of a bust up. And apparently there's reports that he actually left training early, did Paul Pogba. So it's just kicking off big time. So I wanted to give you my thoughts and opinions on what's going on at the moment. What is going on with Manchester United at the moment? You know, our problems on the pitch. It's transferring over into the training ground now, it looks like. Or vice versa, you know, those problems being caused by the negativity that is surrounding Manchester United behind the scenes. I'm talking about Mourinho having absolute mares and criticising players. I'm talking about Pogba criticising the manager. This all affects the squad harmony. This all affects the chemistry. Affects the squad harmony. This all affects the chemistry. This affects everything behind the scenes at Manchester United. This negativity. And you've got to say that those two key men are the ones to blame here. And Paul Pogba, I'm sorry, but you're back chatting the manager in training there. You're supposed to be professional, mate. You're not being professional, okay? Jose is the manager. He's allowed to bark at you. That's how it is. Do you think Sir Alex Ferguson would be putting up with shit like that? No, that's why he freaking sold you, pal. That's why he sent you on down the river. And okay, you went on and did well, didn't you? Fair play to you. And you come back here and it's a big mistake, really, in my opinion, that we spent that sort of money and got Paul Pogba back, because we're seeing why. I don't think his attitude is right for a club like Manchester United. I don't think he is professional enough. And I just don't like his attitude. I really don't. And fair enough if you want to be this big time prima donna off the pitch, but you've got to actually do the business on the pitch then. Maybe we can make some allowances if he was like, his name was like Cristiano Messi or something, and he was actually really good. But unfortunately for us, he's absolutely gash-tastic. He's not good. Yes, he plays the odd good game here and there, about 4 or 5 of them this whole time that he's been back in his second spell. And he's been pretty decent here and there, but most of the time he's very average. Most of the time he's very disappointing. And he just doesn't actually know how to play for Manchester United. I don't think he wears the shirt well. He can't carry the pressure on his back. He can't lead by example on the pitch or off the pitch. He can't grab a game by the scruff of the neck and turn it around and be a match winner. That is what he's supposed to be. So yeah, I mean it's just sickening, isn't it? Super chat here from Alex Rincon. How's it going, Alex Rincon? He says, I just want United to go back to attacking football again. This has been our identity since the Busby Babe years. Yeah, and Mourinho, he's not handled many situations well since he's been at Man United, criticising players like Luke Shaw and Paul Pogba publicly and stuff. Maybe you should just keep that shit behind closed doors, and that would benefit everybody, and then maybe you wouldn't create these little rifts amongst the squad. But I totally hear you, man. I think what United need to do right now is change our whole mentality, change the style of play. We've got to at least entertain the fans. This is what I was saying about this Derby County game. Forget the result. The result is awful. But it's the manner in which we lost. Same with the Wolves game. Same with many games recently. Our form has been terrible. Too inconsistent. We're not going for games enough. And a lot of that is down to Jose Mourinho, the manager, but it's also the players. It's also players like Paul Pogba, who clearly just isn't up for it to be a Manchester United player, I don't think. Or he wants rid of Jose, and that's wrong. It's wrong to have that, to try and create that sort of movement in the dressing room or try and undermine the manager. It's wrong because Jose Mourinho, whether you like him, love him, hate him, think he's a Portuguese Mr. Bean, whatever you think about him, he is the manager of Manchester United. His word should be final, really. Look at Sir Alex back in the day. There were times in his early part of his Manchester United career where he could have gone. Didn't win that cup final. He could have gone. And but the board stuck by him. And if you look at Sir Alex Ferguson, the reason I'm bringing him up is because he has had problems with players in the past. He has. He had rifts with players. He didn't like David Beckham's lifestyle, did he? No, all that prima donna stuff. He didn't like it. Wearing sarongs and stuff out in public. No. Jog on, David. You can't wear a skirt, mate. So he got rid of David Beckham, didn't he? To Real Madrid at the time for not very much money, but we replaced him and moved on. Roy Keane was like our captain, fantastic for years. He was unbelievable, the best sort of destructive box-to-box midfielder the Premier League's ever seen, basically. And he got rid of him too because he was chatting all sorts of stuff about the players, and it was not good to have that out in the open, to create that negativity amongst the squad, because that's what it's going to do when you say stuff like that out in the open in the public domain. And he got rid of Roy Keane. There's other incidences. Jappy Stam was I can't actually remember what happened with him. I think he wrote a book and said some stuff in his book about some of the players being knob jockeys or something. And he got rid of him too, even though he was an absolutely epic player and we couldn't really replace him. At the time thinking, let's get rid of our best centre-back. It's unreal, really, but he did, because the squad, the team, the club, the manager is bigger than any one player. And that is the key point I want to make in today's video, is that Paul Pogba may be a decent player, he may be a good player. He's not that good for Manchester United, but he certainly is just a piece of the puzzle with Manchester United. And at the moment, the puzzle is pretty tricky to solve. It's not even a very difficult puzzle. It's not good. His performances are not good. His attitude behind the scenes is not good. This is only going to create problems for the players at Manchester United, the squad at Manchester United. So for me personally, I've got to that point with Paul Pogba where I don't even really want him to be at Manchester United anymore, because I just think he's too negative. I don't like his attitude, don't like his commitment, I don't like his determination out there on the pitch. Sometimes you just see his head go. That multicoloured head of his, which he's always got tarted up in for some unknown reason. But that head, he drops and he dawdles on the ball like no player I've ever known. You wouldn't see Paul Scholes dawdling on the ball like Paul Pogba ever, because he gets the ball, he's looking for who's in space, he's looking for runs, and he tries to pop the ball off quickly, whereas Paul Pogba just tries to dilly-dally on the ball all the time, gives away possession countless times. I've heard some ridiculous stats this season where he's like giving away the ball about 27 times in a game and stuff like that. Not good enough for any player, let alone your pivotal midfielder there, who's supposed to be that link between attack and defence, or defence and attack. And he's just shit, isn't he? So if Barcelona or anybody else, I'm just putting it out there in the ether, if anybody else wants to come in for Paul Pogba and just take him off our hands for a bargain price, then please do get in touch with the club. Please do. Because I don't really want him at the club anymore. And Jose doesn't get away with no blame for this, no. But to do with Paul Pogba, I just think he's underperformed. He's causing problems behind the scenes. Now maybe it is time to just part ways. I think it's time to part ways with Paul Pogba. Go and be a good player again over in Spain or France or Italy or wherever the hell you want to go. But I'm done with him basically at Manchester United. I don't think he's lived up to the hype. He's certainly not lived up to the wages that he's paid. He's not lived up to the transfer fee. He's been a disappointment. Why did Sir Alex Ferguson get rid of him back in the day? Sir Alex Ferguson, the messiah of managers, the ultimate football manager. Why did he get rid of him? Probably not because of his technique, his ability, and his potential, because he was such a young, skillful player back then. No, I think he got rid of him because he saw something in his personality that he didn't like, and he's done it before with players like Ravel Morrison and letting Lee Sharp go and stuff like that. Players who have outside issues. And I'm not saying they're all similar type of players, but they all have their different own personalities that were too difficult and too negative for Sir Alex Ferguson to cope with at Manchester United. You don't want to mess up the squad harmony. You know, one drop of blood is enough to cloudy the water. But I think that's an expression. Something like that, no. Anyway, to everybody who's tuning in right now to this Monday analysis on Wednesday video, post-match reaction review, little bit more information and my thoughts after we've settled down on the game last night. And of course, this news that's come in about Jose Mourinho and Paul Pogba having a bust-up. This footage emerged. If you haven't seen it, check out the little voiceover video I made, which I uploaded to the channel previous to this, which was just taking the piss, basically. I just did it very quickly for a laugh. Right, I'm going to go through your comments now for a little while and just see what you guys think about the Pogba-Mourinho situation and also the game last night. I'm sure you've all got a lot to say. Billy T commenter says, the club's a shambles from the Glazers right down to the players. No passion, desire or identity. We need football people at the club that can make proper footballing decisions. You've just summed it up there in a paragraph there, Billy. I totally agree. I think it's not just any one part of the club to blame. It's not just the manager. It's not just the players. It's not just Pogba. It's not just the board. It's not just the owners. It's everybody is having a mare right now. The Glazers, they just see it as a business basically, and now I don't think they're really treating Manchester United fans the way that they should be right now. I mean, they have put their hands in their pockets previously and signed expensive players for us, but this last window, they didn't put the faith in Jose Mourinho. They didn't allow the fans what we wanted, which is some excellent signings, some marquee signings, a top quality centre back, maybe a winger. I'm talking Perisic. Or somebody at the back there to come in. We was talking about Maguire and Alderweireld and people like that. It didn't materialise, so the board has got to take a lot of blame for that. The owners have to take a lot of blame for not willing to invest in this squad, because we all know that we needed it. Did the owners and the board just think we would magically catch up Manchester City, who were prepared to go spend 60 mil on Mahrez even though they don't really need him? And teams like Liverpool went out there and had an incredible window. Do you think Jose's just capable of closing the gap, even though we just signed Freddie Flintstone? Is that it? I mean, Dalot looks good. Yeah, he's a young lad. Don't put too much expectation on Dalot at the moment. I want to see his progression at the club done properly. Don't want to see him thrust in there and have all this pressure on his shoulders right now. I mean, I do want to see him play, but, there's a big difference between what the teams at the top did in the transfer window. The board didn't show the faith in the manager for whatever reason. And it's made Jose's life difficult at United, because even going into the season before we started having calamities, realistically, I wasn't expecting us to challenge for the title. I wasn't expecting us to win the league. Best we could hope for really would be second, like last season, because Manchester City is so strong. There's no possibility that they will drop off that much from last season, where they were so incredibly consistent and dominant. So I think we were always going to have a tough season this season. And yes, it would have been nice if we strengthened, but even if we had done that, the other teams are strengthening, and maybe they didn't need to strengthen as much. Certainly City didn't need to strengthen as much as us, and Liverpool needed to strengthen, but they did strengthen. So it makes it very, very difficult for us to actually go on and win the league this year. So I was expecting it to be a tough season. But it's not just them either. The players, people like Paul Pogba, people like Romelu Lukaku, who is supposed to be this £80 million striker who was scoring 25 goals a year for Everton and has always looked really good in the Premier League. Suddenly, in a Manchester United shirt, he turns into Lukaku poop, his schizophrenic alternate personality, which just can't find the back of the net for love or money. And I've had enough of it. I want to see him start scoring goals. You've got to keep the faith in these players. I know he's a quality player. Maybe he's not getting the right service as well. You've got to cut some slack there, because he's not getting the right service. We're not playing good enough attacking football and creating enough chances to give him the true service that he desires. But we saw in the game yesterday, we saw in the previous game before that against Wolves, that he spurns his chances, doesn't he? He does. He does get a fair few chances, and he's not always able to put them away like he should do. At the moment, he's out of a good run of form in terms of finishing. He doesn't have the confidence. You can see that, because half of these chances, like that one against the post yesterday, he would have got previously, when he's actually confident and up for it and feeling good and feeling happy with the service and his role in the team and everything, and his own confidence and motivation within himself. He would bang in most of those chances. He would. You're talking about a man who scores 25 goals a season. Why suddenly now can he not hit a Renault Espace if he's standing three feet away from it? Why is that? Well, yeah, he needs to answer for a lot, as do a lot of the other players. Anthony Martial, too inconsistent for me. Jesse Lingard's gone off the boil recently. There's only really a couple of players at Manchester United I have full confidence in, and those are David De Gea, because he's just the best goalkeeper in the world and always delivers, barely makes a mistake. Goalkeepers always make mistakes no matter how good they are, and his amount of errors that he makes is very, very small. His shot stopping is the best around. So he is the ultimate player for us, and I worry about David De Gea. He's our best player. He's probably he's one of the best players in the world. If you're talking about just generally not excluding goalkeepers from the conversation, he is one of the best players in the world in terms of what he brings to your side, how many points he will win for you, because he's mega for us. He has been for years. He always performs for Manchester United and always saves our bacon. Without him, if we just had an average goalkeeper in there, Roy Carroll or something, where would we be now? I really do worry. So I don't want David De Gea to go anywhere next year. I've got a feeling that maybe he might just have to leave in the future. He's Spanish. It's not like he's got this real major allegiance to Manchester United. Yes, he obviously loves the club. He's shown good loyalty. He is a loyal lad. But I think he said previously one day he'd like to go back to Spain and play. And there's been so much speculation about him going over there for various clubs. Obviously, Courtois gone over there, sort of plugged the hole. But I still worry that maybe we could lose David De Gea, and that would be a mega blow for us. Because like I say, he's one of the best players in the world. Other players that have performed for Manchester United this season, Marouane Fellaini came on, didn't he? Got a header, and he's always looked pretty good when he's played this year. Couple of dodgy performances here and there, but that's Marwan. Generally, for him, he's actually been to a really good standard. I don't have any issues with his motivation out there on the pitch. He always looks like he's trying really, really hard. Not like Paul Pogba, who dilly-dallies all the time. Marwan gets stuck in and he goes for it, and I like that. And that's what we need more of. We don't have enough of those type of players. We don't have enough players with real grit and guile. We've got a bunch of melters, bunch of prima donnas who are way overpaid. You know, people like Alexis Sanchez as well. I'm sorry, mate. Man up, pal. Man up, you Chilean Bruno Mars. Man up! Because you, sir, are underperforming, and you're a star player. You're supposed to be this quality player who we should just come in there and be a match winner for us. We've got a whole team of these people that pretenders, bunch of pretenders, and he's not doing it. Why is that? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense because he was so good at Arsenal. The fact of the matter is he's being paid so much money. Does he really have an affinity to Manchester United? Truly, in his heart of hearts, does he fight for the red shirt? Like, say, a Ryan Giggs would, or a Paul Scholes would, or a Roy Keane would. Somebody who really loves and has that passion for Manchester United. No, I don't think he does, really. So we're dealing with players who perhaps are undermotivated and certainly are overpaid. He's on a ridiculous amount of money. There was that whole Mkhitaryan swap deal. I think it ended on a free with Sanchez, but obviously I can't really remember the ins and outs of the deal. But we acquired him for very, very cheap anyway. But the reason we did that is because signing on fees, wages are astronomically high that we're paying him. And he's an excellent player based on his previous Premier League history. You would pay him that money because he's so good. That's why we did. But he's not doing it for us. Man up, Alexis. Man the F up, okay? Robert Taylor with a comment in the house. He says the club surely can't allow them to continue falling out like this. It is embarrassing. Yeah, you can't have this going on. It really doesn't put the club in a good light. They won't be happy upstairs, the board. They won't be happy about this sort of stuff surfacing. They don't want this negativity being portrayed at the club. And then it spirals into something else as well. Like the players had this negativity about them. They had this pressure, added pressure, which they've already got so much pressure on their shoulders anyway. We don't need any negativity at the club, which is why I just think Paul Pogba is a bad apple. And in terms of squad harmony, I don't think he's prepared to do a job. That's why he's been so poor under Jose Mourinho. It's not because he can't do it. It's because he can't be asked. Jose says, do this, defend, do this, sit back, whatever. Yeah, it's defensive and shite. And I get his frustration. I really do. But he's the manager. You've got to do what he does. So when you're basically not trying 110% out there because you don't agree with the tactics or you don't agree with the role that the manager has assigned to you. And that's wrong because that means you're not playing at the best of your abilities. You're not happy. Your mood's wrong. And maybe you just don't feel motivated. Maybe you don't want to actually perform because you don't want to prove the manager right. That's the sort of mentality I believe that Paul Pogba has. And I believe that's why Sir Alex Ferguson got rid of him back in the day. So he saw something he didn't like in his personality, which is stinking up the dressing room. So I personally would get rid of him, but that's just my opinion. Alex Rincon, fans wouldn't be as pissed if we lost 3-0 to Spurs but played attacking football. That's so true. It's all about the entertaining of the fans, and that does come down to Jose Mourinho because it's his style, his defensive tactics that is causing all of this negativity amongst the fans with the style of play. We don't want to see Manchester United going out there playing defensively, playing like we are Derby County when we're playing Derby County. They're supposed to be playing like that against United defensively, and we're supposed to be ripping them open. So, yeah, I totally agree. I just think it's not really about the results right now. It's about giving the fans some value. The fans are tuning in, watching these games, paying their ticket prices, going into the stadium. They want to be entertained. They don't want to go there and just be bored for 90 minutes and also disappointed with the result. It's one thing to be like a George Graham Arsenal and win every game 1-0 and play defensively and grind out results. That's actually a great way of playing because it's effective and you win games. But it's not entertaining, and if you're not entertaining the fans, you have to get the results. It puts extra pressure on you getting the results, and what we're doing at the moment is not entertain the fans by playing defensive football and not playing to our true attacking identity that is Manchester United, because we are a club that always attacks. Attack, attack, attack. Come on. This is United we're talking about. We're an attacking Goliath. We rip teams open. We put teams to the sword. We score 5, 6, 7 goals. I think when I was a kid, I remember us battering Ipswich 9-0 or 9-1 or something. This is United we're talking about here. Seriously. So we do need to change the way that we're playing football. We really, really do. Just forgot what else I was going to talk about there because I went on that little passionate rant. Red Devil Said, thank you for your comment, previous commenter. Red Devil Said comments, if Romelu Lukaku had shots at 2-pack, he would still be alive. I like that one. That's pretty decent. Alex Rincon says, Yap Stan was sold by Fergie. There you go, man. I mean, that's it. He's got rid of certain players that caused problems in the dressing room behind the scenes. And this is Sir Alex Ferguson. He is the best manager. Jose Mourinho, for me right now, has to make a statement. He needs to say, Paul Pogba will not tolerate this behaviour, and he needs to get rid of him. That's what I would do. If some team wants to come in and make an offer for him, more for them. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, Juventus, whoever wants him, come and get him. Because he is available at a bargain price. I mean, I personally would just give him away because he's on so much money per week anyway, it saves you shitloads of money. And you can put those wages towards other good players. But, of course, we do want to get a transfer fee for him. Somebody would surely pay 20 million for Paul Pogba or something. And realistically, a lot more. So I would float him on the transfer market, see what we can do. Because he's a bad apple. Super Alex comments, Pogba was insane in the World Cup for France. United shouldn't sell Pogba. Mourinho just can't use him. Same with Sanchez, another player that Mourinho has ruined him as well. Well, you make some interesting points there. You can certainly look at it from that point of view. Maybe if Pogba is allowed the freedom to be that truly attacking free player in the side, then we would see better results at Manchester United, and he would be happier, and he wouldn't be causing these rifts in the training and arguing with the manager if he was actually happy playing attacking football in the role that he likes to play, which obviously he isn't. I do get that, and that must be very frustrating for him, but he should be professional anyway. Sanchez, yeah, I mean, I think Sanchez's commitment is not to be questioned as much as Paul Pogba's, because I always see Sanchez trying very hard. And there was times when he carried Arsenal previously, but he's still not performing at Manchester United, and maybe that is down to the manager not utilising him. I'd like to see him played up top, actually, considering Romelu Lukaku's doing so poorly. It would give us a different element. He's pace, he's got good finishing, he's instinctual. I think he would be a good option up there, and I think Jose hasn't utilised him very well. So yeah, I kind of agree with what you're saying there. But at the same time, these are professional footballers on loads of money. Jose can only tell them so much. At the end of the day, these people with their own psyches and their own physical bodies are out there on the pitch, running around, kicking the football, seeing the passes, playing the balls. They're the ones who are out there doing it, so they've got to perform. They're not in good form, all of those players. And that is a lot down to maybe the system and the tactics and the negativity shrouding the club at the moment. But it's also down to the fact that these players are just a bunch of melt jobs and cannot consistently perform and are not performing. And maybe there's a psychological aspect to this where it's just for some reason they come in there, they're on so much money, like I was saying, they're overpaid and maybe undermotivated in a certain way. So there's all sorts of blame going on. There is. I can't just pinpoint it on Jose. I can't just pinpoint it on the players. It is everybody at the club needs to change right now, sort it out right now. Jose, change your mentality, play attacking football. If you're going to go down in a blaze of glory, son. Don't go out waving a white flag all defensive. No, I want to see you try with this Manchester United side. I want to see us get a reaction from this terrible run of form that we're in right now. I want to see us go out next game and score 5. That's what we should be capable of doing as Manchester United. And if Jose plays attacking football, which he has done in the past, you're talking about when Chelsea were really dominant and scored all sorts of goals and got records and stuff in the Premier League when he came back that first season, second time round. Real Madrid were very attacking at times, also very defensive at times. But certain games, they would rip teams open. Why is he not taking that philosophy and that mentality with this Manchester United side right now? That's what we need. The fans are crying out for it. You're capable of doing it. The players are crying out for it. We want to play more speed, more tempo, more direct, more through balls, more attacking, more pace. Let's see Rashford involved. What's going on? Let's see Sanchez up top there. Let's just mix it up a little bit. I want to see Manchester United playing attacking, entertaining football. Forget about the results. Because this season's already a salvage job. It's already pretty much unrealistic that we can challenge for the title, and almost bordering on the unlikely that we can get top 4 now. If you look at the teams above us, I mean, even Arsenal are above us. Teams like Liverpool are just looking so strong, winning games, looking so good attacking-wise, dominant. Man City are just Man City. Chelsea have had a good start to the season. We are going to find it difficult to creep in that top 4. There's teams like Spurs as well, and Arsenal, who knows? I mean, come on, okay, calm down. But there is other teams that that are vying for those spaces too. We've got no divine right to get into that top 4 this season. So it's looking unlikely that we will right now. Maybe we will. But with this turmoil at the club, with this negativity behind the scenes, with this poor run of results and performances, I don't see Manchester United getting top 4 right now. Hopefully we can turn it around. Hopefully Jose can turn it around. Or the board make a decision and get rid of Jose if that's the direction they want to go in, and give somebody else the opportunity to try and do that for us. But right now, the squad harmony is a big problem. The manager is a big problem. The players seem to be unhappy playing the way that we want to play out there, and I get that. Some of them look very undermotivated. And but at the same time, the players are supposed to be good enough to beat Derby County. This is a championship side, so there's something wrong with the players here. They should just be able to put them out. Brian Clough, back in the day, absolute legendary manager. He had some philosophies, and a lot of his philosophies were things like he would just buy quality players that he liked. He was successful because he always was allowed to go and spend money. And he used to go into clubs and he used to sign quality proven players that were really good, or that he knew he could use in his system really, really well. But at the same time, he used to say that they were just professional footballers. They were quality professional footballers, and they should know how to play. He doesn't need to give team talks necessarily. They go out there on the pitch and they perform. And if they don't perform, then they've got to answer to it. And he was one of the most legendary football managers in English football. So, yeah, I think the players have got a lot to answer for too. Thank you, everybody, for your questions coming through. I'll get round to some more in a moment. To everybody who is tuning in, do me a favour, please, and chuck a like on this video. If you want, you can give it a share on social media. And if you're new here, you can hit that subscribe button, click the little bell end thing, and you'll be notified when I post videos in the future. What this is actually the weekly podcast, which I will upload to SoundCloud later. And that will go on Apple, iTunes, podcast app, whatever it is called. It will go on there, maybe all of those things. It will go on there, and also SoundCloud and any podcast app that you may use. So you can find that by searching Flying Pig Podcast or searching Monday Analysis, which I will actually change it this week. I'll call it Wednesday Analysis, which I have done. So it'll be called Wednesday Analysis. Basically, I might just, if there's a game on a Wednesday or a Tuesday or whatever, next day, I'll try and just talk about the game and my reaction post-match next day after the dust settled, every single week, and for every single game. I will try to do that. So maybe there'll be a Monday analysis and another day's analysis, or we can come up with a different name. Get your thoughts in. But yeah, thanks so much for stopping by, everybody. Really appreciate you getting involved. Josh said, comments and says, both need to go. Well, that would be a drastic change, but maybe one that would actually benefit Manchester United, because even if Jose was sacked, I still don't really want Paul Pogba at the club. I'm not so sure if a new manager coming in could get the best out of him. He's on so much money, he just doesn't look asked. I personally would not lose any sleep if Paul Pogba went on a free transfer tomorrow. I wouldn't. I'd like to see us get a bit of money for him, but just get rid of him now. That's my personal opinion on it. A lot of people don't like it. There's people commenting on my previous video, saying I had a Pogba agenda. I do have a Pogba agenda. I think he's shite, so I want him out of the club. That's my opinion as a fan. I'm entitled to that. You, I'm sure, writing those comments, have a completely different opinion, and that's your entitlement as a fan too. But you're wrong. Pogba's gash. Alex Wincott says, well, I know the board is wanting to hire a director of football. I mean, I like it to keep these things old school. Do you know what I mean? Katorga comments, I mean, he now has 3 different left wingers. Whatever. Liam Martin, Pig, can you do a match reaction for the Man United versus West Ham? I will try to, mate. I will try to do a live match companion. I know I've been saying that. Yo Mama comments and says, Chilean Bruno Mars, yeah, Alexis Sanchez. Right, sorry, I've got to go down here a little bit on the comment section, so just one moment. Yang Flame comments and he says, or she says, let's not be sexist around here, says, how do we know Pogba not been asking Mourinho to change our style and his position for months? Maybe he's been falling on deaf ears. Maybe he's just really frustrated. That's a very good point, man. Players can become disillusioned, certainly if they have to play in a certain system which doesn't suit them or they don't believe plays to the best of their attributes. And I must say that I think, looking at the way Pogba plays out there on the pitch, I don't think Jose's been utilising him very well at all. When he has played him rarely on occasion, more advanced up the pitch, he's looked more comfortable, he's created more things, he's more dangerous, but he's still not been up to the standard in my opinion. I think they've both got a lot to blame. Jose is very rigid with his thoughts and the way he wants to play, obviously. He's not prepared to change the way that we play and go attacking and go gung-ho, even in games when we're coming up against championship sides at Old Trafford, when we're coming off a loss against or a draw against Wolves. and we need to give the fans something to look forward to and something to actually be entertained by. So he's very rigid. He's not prepared to change his thoughts and ways that he likes to play football. And that can be very frustrating for a player like Paul Pogba, who is this sort of perhaps more of a maverick type, who wants to be allowed to go out there and express himself on the football pitch. He wants the freedom to be able to do certain things. And maybe he is being shackled by Jose Mourinho. Jose saying things like sit deeper, defend side passes, stuff like that, keep possession, which is... He's obviously dawdling on the ball a lot and maybe losing possession. We don't know what Jose's advice to him is out there on the pitch. But at the same time, he's a professional footballer on 300k a week. He should really be doing a lot better. So both of them have to take the blame. Katorga says, didn't Sir Alex regret selling Yapstam? Yeah, I'm sure he did regret selling Yapstam because he went over to Lazio, I believe, and just was an absolute Goliath over there. You know why? Because he is an absolute Goliath. He's one of the best United defenders we've ever had. He was just an absolute rock. He was such a hard man as well, and I love that. We're missing that now. We've got Phil Jones and Smalling at the back. We used to have Rio Vidic and Yapstam and people like that who would headbutt you if you looked at them funny. That's what we need. And anyway, Yapstam was just, aside from that, he was just such a good physical defender, really competent, always very safe. And just solid as a rock and strong, so strong. So he was just one of the best defenders we ever had. I didn't like it when we sold him because he was amazing, and I really regret the fact we did so. I'm not surprised Sir Alex Ferguson did because he went on to be even better, really, than he was for us, and he was amazing for us. Daniel McClelland comments and says, Jose just needs to go cut his losses and get Zidane, new manager, new era. If Pogba played under Zidane, he'd be the Pogba that played for Juve. Maybe you're right, man. I mean, that's a possibility. Zidane is obviously on the market. He's available. We could potentially get him as a replacement for Jose Mourinho if the axe was to be swung by the board. But I don't see them doing that anytime soon. They'll keep a bit more faith in Jose. They'll give him enough rope to hang himself with. And but if he continues in the vein of form that we're in right now, leading up to Christmas, I don't see him staying at the club much longer than Christmas time because we can't allow this level of drop off from last season. We finished second last year. We were in some things, lost the final, cup final, but we were still in the mix and we were progressing. This season, if we stop progressing and we start going backwards, which we are doing so far this season, maybe come Christmas time, we would have turned our fortunes around entirely. But if he can't do that, then I think they'll sack him then. So I don't think, even though Zidane is available right now and maybe would be a good option, I don't think we would go for him right now because I think the board will stick with Jose. We'll see. Maybe news will be released that he's been sacked. But I just think we'll stick with him for a good while yet until there is really no doubt that we can't qualify for the Champions League at least, which in itself would be a poor result considering the club that we had, the squad that we have, the fact we finished second last year. We should at least be challenging up there, but we're not. So yeah, thank you very much for your question there, mate. James Mellier comments, you never walk alone for life. We've been better than you for years. Just go away. You've been better than us for years. Oh, you really cheered me up there, James. I needed that, mate. You've been better than us for years. Oh, seriously? When was the last Premier League you won? Oh, hang on. You never won the Premier League, have you? No. Old First Division, yeah. Oh, okay. That's shitloads of time ago. So come on. Don't come in here with that crap, mate. Oh, shit. James Mellier, you were saying that to us, Scouser. Just mugged myself off there, mate. Nice one. But yeah, thank you very much. I had the same thoughts. Like, hang on, we have been better for years. Do you know what I mean? Should have known by the Manchester United badge, mate. Fuck. Oh yeah, here he is, the Liverpool fan being a douchebag. Fair play to you. No, nice one, mate. That's it. This is a forum for all football fans. Don't be put off just because you're a dirty Scouser. You know, take a break from robbing car wheels and come in and listen to the Flying Pig podcast. We want you in here. We do. We want to hear your thoughts on it because we've been laughing at your laughing stock of a football club for many a year. Don't you worry about that. We have been dominating Liverpool for season after season after season, so calm down. Okay, right now, I must say, right now, with the turmoil at United and the amazing positivity that's going on at Liverpool and the players you've got and the manager you've got, right now you are looking like a better team than us. You're doing better than us. You're a better team than us. But that has not been the case pretty much in my lifetime ever. So, yeah, I mean, there's seasons here and there where you maybe finished above us once or twice, but you're lucky. You haven't won the league. And Manchester United have consistently won the league half of the Premier League seasons, pretty much. So screw you, buddy. Alex Rudd with a super chat. How's it going, Alex? He comments and says, working, just stopping by. Thank you so much for stopping by with the super chat there, Alex. Hope work's going okay, man. Just dissecting Manchester United's shocking performance last night against Derby County and getting knocked out of the cup. And you'd know a lot about that, Alex, actually, wouldn't you, mate, to be fair? No, thank you very much for stopping by, mate. I hope the rest of work goes good for you. John Hurst comments and says, funny you think Zidane would just come. Why would he come to your shit club? Oh, Johnny! Salty? What club do you support? Some provincial town shite or something? Wow, that is a harsh comment there, mate. But, no, fair enough. I think he'd probably come to the club because of money. Even though he may not be as motivated by money as some people, and we are prepared to pay significant money for people, and I don't want that to be the main reason. But I think the main reason would actually be because it's one of the biggest clubs in world football. Whether or not right now we are not performing like one of the biggest clubs in world football, we are one of the biggest clubs in world football. We have one of the richest histories. He knows all about coming up against Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson and what a fantastic club we are. So I think he would relish the opportunity to manage in the Premier League, where the best managers in the world are currently managing. People like Pep Guardiola, people like Jose Mourinho, people like Jurgen Klopp, Pochettino. We have got a mixture of the real top quality managers. And if Zidane wants to prove himself even further as a manager, because let's not forget, he fell into that Real Madrid job, had an unbelievable squad, was ridiculously successful in a very short space of time, and you have to give him all the credit in the world for that, because he was amazing in the time that he was there. Just won everything, basically. 3 Champions Leagues on the trot. So you have to give him all the credit in the world, but it's a different monster coming in to manage a club like Manchester United, who are in a bit of turmoil right now. We don't have this star-studded squad with Cristiano Ronaldo in it. We don't. He would have to change things drastically at Manchester United, and there would be a bad effect for a little short period of time, I'm sure, because with change comes a settling in period where all the players have to learn. He's got to have time to change the system, the players, get players out, players in, all that sort of stuff, and there probably would be a downturn. Football's all about cycles, as I was saying in my video yesterday. Right now we're on the downturn, and it may be a while before we're really truly back up there, where we've got Galacticos in the squad. We used to have a team of Galacticos, British Galacticos as well a lot of the time. The class of 92, all those guys. We had an incredible squad over the years, star players, but it was all cemented together with Sir Alex Ferguson. You take Sir Alex Ferguson out of the equation and the team is not what it is. He was the mastermind behind all of that. He was capable of getting players like Nani looking absolutely unbelievable. He was capable of getting really bang average players performing. Wes Brown playing in Champions Leagues and shit like that, finals. He was some manager. He really was. Without him, it's always going to be difficult. We will never see a manager of the like again, like Sir Alex Ferguson. He was in a league of his own. He truly was the greatest manager ever, and I don't think his records will ever be matched. I don't think you ever find a manager now, with the game the way it is, with managers getting such short amount of time to prove themselves. I don't think you ever get another Sir Alex Ferguson where he's at a club for 26 years and he's so successful, or 26 Premier League seasons and so successful, won half of those Premier League seasons. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. I think those stats are correct. It has been a while. Yeah, so thanks for your comment. G-Man comments, very nice hat. Thanks very much, mate. It's getting colder in England now. It's getting towards winter, so I've whipped it out. Check it out. I don't even know what it is, really. Is this like some sort of Russian hat? You can put it up like that as well, and it looks pretty Russian. So, yeah, but it's a pretty cool hat. Anyway, thank you. Kyle Broom comments, Pig, why does Smalling and Jones still wear Man United jerseys? I think it's because it's the best of the shite that we've got at the moment in terms of those positions. Okay, we've got Bailey as well. He looks like a good player, but he has been underperforming and struggling as well. But you can argue that his teammates not helping him out. But the reason is we didn't go out there in the transfer window and replace these players. We didn't sell these players. If we'd have sold these players and brought players in, then that would have obviously made us stronger, because they're not up to the standard, really. Maybe as squad players, as backup players, but certainly not starting 11 players. I don't think Jones and Smalling should be anywhere near the United starting 11. So, but we didn't, the board didn't spend the money. We weren't able to attract the player, or we weren't able to pay the money for the player. We didn't want to pay the money for the player to get our man. We all know we needed a top quality centre back coming in, so that's why they're still at the club. It's the board not being prepared to spend that little extra money to get a Maguire or an Alderweireld player like that in. It's the board's fault mainly. But also, we have had seasons and seasons where we could have replaced these shite players, haven't we? It's not like we haven't been crying out for a centre-back since Rio and Vidic left, because we have done. What have we done since then? We haven't signed that top-quality player and spent shitloads of money. No way. Savage in this beer comments and says, if Lukaku was the Titanic, he would have missed the iceberg. I like that one. That's pretty good. Viraj comments, hey, pig. Hey, man. How's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Wednesday Analysis, where we're talking about the Manchester United derby shocker calamity last night, and also this whole bust up with Paul Pogba and Jose Mourinho. Go back and watch the start of this video if you're just tuning in now to get my real thoughts and opinions on the bust up with Jose, Paul Pogba, my thoughts on it. But if you're just tuning in, to give you a little conclusion here, I personally would actually accept any offer for Paul Pogba and get rid of him right now. I may not agree with Jose Mourinho's tactics. I don't like the style of football. I don't like the entertainment, but he can change that. He's the manager at the end of the day. You cannot undermine the manager. He is the leader of this ship. He's the captain of the ship. And I'm sorry, Paul Pogba, you were the first mate, but now jog on, pal. Jog on. That's my personal opinion. I don't think he's up to it. He's not performed good enough to be able to be the prima donna and causing negative rifts backstage or behind the scenes in training and things like that. He's not the quality player that is allowed to do that. It's not Diego Maradona. If we had Diego Maradona, maybe go, okay, it's Diego, he's feisty, he's a nutter. We'll just make allowances for him and just let him be a prima donna prick because he's that good. He's not that player for us. He's not been that player. He's not even an Eric Cantona who's like, I'm going to do things my way, or a Zlatan Ibrahimovic, because they actually perform for us. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, man, I miss that guy, man. He's ripping things up over in the MLS, isn't he? We should have never let him go. He was actually really good for us, wasn't he? He was a leader. That's the thing. We're crying out for leaders. We don't have leaders. He was a leader. He led out there. All he's ever done his whole footballing career is lead. For Sweden, he's the best player amongst a pretty average bunch, but he leads them like lions. He's fantastic. I love Zlatan Ibrahimovic. We should have kept him. Right now, he would have been a much better option than that waster, Romelu Lukaku. No? Don't you think? I think so, even at the age he is, even after coming back from injuries. Look at some of the goals he's scoring in the MLS. Yes, it's a shite league with shite goalies and shite defences and stuff. But still, the teams are even. He's just able to finish off these chances, which are just incredible. He's such a great player, and I miss him dearly. Even though he's only here for a short spell, I really do miss Zlatan. I think he's such a great player, such a leader. And a lot of people were glad to see the back of him. I don't know why. I would take 10 Zlatan Ibrahimovic's. Sorry, I would take 1 Zlatan Ibrahimovic instead of 10 Paul Pogba's. I honestly would. Viraj Palmer comments, we need to get our identity back and have an actual style of play, not this boring crap. Yeah, you're echoing the sentiments of most of the people commenting on here about our style of play. It's too defensive, it's too boring, it's not effective in the slightest either. Fair enough if we're winning 1-0 every game, but we're not. It's not effective, we're not getting the results. So we need to change, we need to play attacking football, we need to entertain the fans, give the fans a reason to look forward to the game going up at the weekend. Dean Perselli comments, we have talent in the team, but a coach that doesn't promote it. Well, he does seem to shackle certain players. He does play this defensive style. If he was more expressive, allowed the players more freedoms out there, like maybe a Jurgen Klopp would, then you'd probably see a lot more out this side. I do agree with that. But at the same time, you maybe lose just the same amount of games or more games because you do go gung-ho. Liverpool were incredible last year, weren't they? Attacking, they were incredible, and they've improved this year. But last year, they were so good going forward. The best attacking side in the league by a mile, in my opinion, because they tore apart Man City on numerous occasions, who were the other amazing attacking team in the league. And I just thought Liverpool was so good, but they finished below us. Why is that? You've got to have a balance somewhere. You can't just go, lads, attack, run, go. Because in certain games, you have to play defensively. You have to play on the counter. You have to be prepared to grind. And Jose is a master at that. He's not showing that right now, but previously he is a master at that. He's done it time and time again with clubs before, and people can say, oh, he's lost it, he's over the hill. Come on, man. I mean, he's a great manager. He is. He's also a douchebag at the same time, but he's a fantastic manager. And right now he's not doing it for us. And maybe he's not the right fit for Manchester United because we are a club that demands more entertainment, more attacking football. And he's not got that balance right. But he could get that balance right if he was prepared to attack a bit more. But I don't want to see him go Jurgen Klopp last season and go attack, because we will just lose some games when we shouldn't do, because that's football. Teams will be prepared to set up defensively against you and sit back and hit you on the counter and absorb you and spit you back out and hit you on the break. And we will lose games like that. It's just the way it is. You have to have a good balance. Sir Alex Ferguson always had a good balance. Most of the time, we play attacking football. If we were coming up against Derby County at Old Trafford, bet your bottom dollar we were going out there to rip them apart, and we were set up attacking, and the boys knew, get it forward, flood forward, make those forward runs, attack, high tempo, all that stuff. That's the Manchester United way. And you knew we were going to do that, which is what Jose doesn't do right now. He sets us up the same sort of defensive style, even if we're playing real shite teams. So I don't disagree with you, mate. I think we really do need to man up, start playing this attacking football. Jose needs to change his tactics massively, because we're just not performing it at all. Ross McGarry comments and says, hi, Pig Pal. Great show as always. Thank you very much for getting involved with your nice comment there, Russ. He says, I'm laughing at MUFC for a few years now, but this takes it to a whole new level. Oh, I thought you were going to say a nice comment there, mate. You've just come in here mocking United. No, thank you very much, man. Well, who do you support, Russ? Because I'm sure we've been laughing at you for even longer amount of time. Please say Liverpool or Arsenal or something. But no, I take your comment on board. Thanks so much for stopping by and getting involved. Neil High comments, what would you do without Fellaini? He has been one of our better performers this season, to be fair. But I'll tell you what we'd do without Fellaini. We'd probably just use a regular toilet brush to clean the toilet. Oh. James Mellier, Marcio is great, but he's one of those lads who just wants Jose out. But to be fair, he's still miles ahead of Sanchez. I think he's shown glimpses this season where he's been very, very good, and we all know what he's capable of doing. And his progression at Manchester United under Jose Mourinho has not been good at all. Some of the other players' progression has been good under Jose, but not his. I don't think he's come on that much. And I think he is another player who's not happy with the system, shackled by the system perhaps, maybe doesn't quite have the right mentality to really get stuck in there and prove the manager wrong. But for whatever reason, Jose isn't getting the best out of him. So, yeah, listen, it's a combination, isn't it? I keep saying it, but it's a combination of the manager, the board, the players. Everyone's having a double damer right now at Manchester United. Smile Love comments and says, hello, darling. You all right, love? How's it going? She says, I don't like Mourinho. If it's a woman, it's probably a 12-year-old kid, spotty kid. Yasser H, how's it going, Yasser? He comments and says, Jose relies too much on Lukaku. He's not on Drogba level. You need to sub him a few times, put Rashford up there for a few games. Yes, Yasser! I totally agree with you, man. He's not on Drogba's level at all. He's a second-rate Drogba. He's closer to Emile Heskey than he is to Didier Drogba. And Emile was a useful, effective player for teams like Leicester City, but he's not a Manchester United-style player, really. He's not technically gifted enough. And Lukaku, I think, is closer to him than he is to Drogba. Drogba was just an absolute man for the occasion. He was such an incredible player, so physical, so dominant, and Lukaku's got perhaps the same physicality, but he's not using it right at the moment. Definitely not. Mizan Ahmed comments, you should replace Jose, Mr. Pig. Let's start a petition, lads and lasses. Come on, Flying Pig for your new United manager. Let's see what I can do. You want change? I'll give you change. Ease Lasuni, or Liez Lasuni, comments and says, gigs it to the end of the season. What you think, lad? Well, he's managing Wales, isn't he? But maybe he would come back if the opportunity was presented to him. I'd perhaps like to see us go in that direction. People talking about Zidane, but in my opinion, Zidane, even though it sounds ridiculous to say because he's won so much in a short time, mega things as well, he's sort of unproven. I know that sounds ridiculous to say, but he's gone in there in an incredible side, and he is an incredible coach, obviously, and he has got the best out of that team while he was there. But at the same time, it's not the same test to go into Manchester United like it is in a 3-club league, which is what La Liga is. And but still, to win those things, it's incredible. But he did have an incredible squad. If we had the squad that they had under Zidane, I don't think we'd be having the problems we are right now. I think they'd just be performing because those players are that good. And they basically just manage themselves and play themselves. And Zidane, obviously, is a massive influence in that dressing room and everything. But they're so good on their own. So I just think that it would be a totally different animal for him to come in and manage Manchester United. I don't know how he would take to it. I don't think it would be an instant thing. I mean, I think when Pep Guardiola first came into City, first season, it was sort of, he's got to change. And they didn't really win anything first season, if I remember correctly. But obviously, they've gone on to be amazing under Pep Guardiola, and you probably have to allow for that period of time and change. for him to be able to influence the side properly in the way that he wants to manage it. But he doesn't have a team full of world-class players like Real Madrid. There's a few of them, undoubtedly, and he can build on that and bring players in, and he is a big name that's capable of doing that. But I think Ryan Giggs would maybe be a better option because he knows the club, he knows the passion of the club, he knows the fans, the way the fans want to play, he knows how he used to play. He could bring something back to Manchester United. He could bring that Manchester United way back to the club because he's part of that Manchester United way. So I think that would maybe be a good option, but at the same time, he's shown in his short spell with Wales, he's perhaps a capable manager. But it's a big difference compared to somebody like a Jose who's got real top quality managerial experience, or even a Zidane, to be honest, who's been managing in La Liga and winning Champions League for a couple of years at Real Madrid. So maybe Pochettino would be a good shout. I don't see really why I'd want to leave them right now for Manchester United. I know United are a bigger club, but they've got a better squad. So he's probably more likely to finish higher this season, at least with them, as much as it pains me to say that. But he's a good manager. So I think there's some options. I think Jose's going to stay for a good while, though. I don't see the board making the decision. Dan 10 comments and says Mourinho has been let down by the board and the players. He has been let down by the board by not going out and spending money in the transfer window to get the players that we need to plug the holes that we've got. And also the players, people like Paul Pogba don't seem to be playing for him. Lukaku's not performing. Sanchez is not performing. You can blame Jose and his tactics and his defensive style all you want. But these players are the guys out there who are wearing the shirt out there on the pitch playing the football, and they've got to man up and take a lot of the blame too. Right then, lads and lasses, I think I'm going to pretty much wrap it up there. I've got to shoot soon, but really appreciate everybody tuning into this live video podcast on a Wednesday, usually on a Monday. I know I said I was going to do the Monday analysis video this week and I couldn't do it because of work and stuff, so I apologise. But next week, Monday analysis, every single Monday we'll do it, and maybe I'll also do a post-match reaction next day video like this one for games midweek as well. If you guys want to see that, let me know. If you guys want to come and see this analysis show twice a week, get the thumbs up on this video and get your comments in. Let me know. If I've not answered any of your comments right now, please do me a favour and get your comments in after this video has been published to YouTube. Come back, just write your comments in the comment section. I'll respond to them then. And appreciate you guys getting involved, interacting with the channel. You're a bunch of legends for tuning in on this Wednesday afternoon. It's an absolute calamity at the moment, Manchester United. Sort it out, Jose. You've got to take a lot of the blame. Just want to talk to you about the results of my poll last night. Actually, I put a little poll on midnight on Twitter, which was just a poll saying who is the most to blame for Manchester United's current situation. And the results of the poll were quite interesting. The options were the board, the manager, the players, and then Paul Pogba. I put Paul Pogba in there because he is causing a bit of turmoil at the moment. I don't like him, so I put Paul Pogba on there. And he got the least amount of votes. The players got the second least amount of votes. And if I'm right in saying at this time, maybe it's changed, but the board had the most amount of votes, followed very closely by Jose Mourinho. So it seems the general consensus of the fans right now is that Jose and the board are mostly to blame, and it's not the players. Now, I think some of the players are to blame because they should be performing a lot better and they've got to take a look at themselves and change and improve and start playing like they are capable of. But at the same time, most people think that the board and Jose Mourinho are the people who are most to blame. So what does that mean? Do we need change? Does Jose need sacking? Do we need to bring a new manager in? Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section. Eric the King 68 comments and says, sack the board. Sack the board. What do you think about that? Anyway, I'll see you very soon. Upcoming match reactions. I'll try and do a match companion for the next game. I know I'm not always able to do that, but I will try. Somebody in the comment section was asking for it, so I'll try. But if not, there'll always be the post-match reaction video, so you can always hear my thoughts on the games. And like I say, this is available on SoundCloud. It's available on iTunes and the podcast app on your phone, whatever, whether it's Apple, Android, you can find it. Just search Flying Pig Podcast or search Monday Analysis, or in this case today, Wednesday Analysis. I'll be back every single Monday, and every single day I'll try to at least after games to give you my thoughts and opinions after the dust settled. This is the Pig on Flying Pig United. You've been watching Flying Pig United with my breakdown on Pogba and Mourinho and the Manchester United versus Derby County game last night, which was an absolute calamity. And I've still got a bitter taste in my mouth about it. Sort it out, lads. I don't care how shite We are. We should be beating Derby County. It's as simple as that. I'll see you very soon. Like, subscribe, comment, follow the podcast on whatever app you use, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.